Hey Facebook, it's Sarah McLeodry from Synergy Behavior Solutions and my dog Lindy. And we are going to talk today about muzzle training. So just a little bit first, when you see Lindy's wearing panties today, it's because she's in season. So she's wearing her panties, just in case you had questions about that. So we're going to kind of talk about some basic muzzle training, some tips that, some of the pitfalls that lots of people have with muzzle training. So what I'm playing with actually right now is a suction cup baby bowl, and I have it smeared with almond butter actually, because I have a dog who's allergic to peanut butter. But this is something that I like to use in veterinary situations to help distract dogs or grooming, things like that. So and I eventually want them to be able to use this with their muzzle. So I'm going to actually give Lindy this while we start our chat. Then can get a little bit of the suction cup down there. Actually, my suction cups are tight, so it's probably not going to stay in one spot, but we'll get the idea. So there's lots of different reasons why people muzzle train their dogs. For us here at Synergy, mainly it is because of aggression issues. So we have a variety of muzzles that we use. Today I'm going to be demonstrating with a Baskerville Ultra muzzle. And just a kind of reminder about the Baskerville Ultras, they do not fit every dog. They are a great muzzle to start with. It's off the shelf, it's easy, you can change the shape a little bit. Just a reminder that they are not completely bite proof. Our goal always is to set our dogs up for success, and this is the muzzle is more of a management tool and a safety belt in case things go wrong. And it is not designed to put it on your dog and then let them go and be in situations that they're not prepared for. So that's why we are comfortable using the Baskervilles for most situations, even though they are, like I said, are not completely bite proof. So a couple things that we start with usually when muzzle training is I actually like to, there we go, okay, get rid of the straps. So I'm going to move the straps back and out of the way so that it doesn't really look like the muzzle, especially if they've had some negative muzzle experience in veterinary settings, things like that. So I just wanted to look like a little cup and work on first having the dog put their face in this magic part, the basket. We call this phase bountiful basket. One of the ways that you can do this actually, thank you, is working on putting the muzzle in that bowl that I just gave Lindy and letting her lick while the muzzle's in there. She's going to work around it, that's fine. Lindy is partially muzzle trained, not completely muzzle trained. Partially I only say because I've used her for lots of demonstrations. She does not need to wear a muzzle, but I feel it's important that every dog should be muzzle trained. So I use her for demonstrations. She is comfortable clearly putting her face in the basket and doing some activities with it on, but she is not completely muzzle trained. So this is a great way to work on the bountiful basket. I first introduced Lindy to the lickable almond butter bowl. And then all I did was stick the muzzle in there, and in order to lick the almond butter bowl, she's got to stick her face into the muzzle and letting her have some fun doing that. Easy way. You can also do this with their meal times. Be careful with their meal times. You don't want to poison, quote unquote, the meal experience for the dog. But if you are having some trouble, it's a great way to do a hands-off training. I'm holding this just so you can see right now. Normally what I would do is have my suction cups all ready to go, and I would stick this to the ground, and so that she can work on that independently, and I wouldn't need to be present. So if you have a dog who's maybe concerned when hands are near the muzzle, which is a really common issue. So that's one of the tricks to work on dogs who have some muzzle issues with hands. One of the other things that we see a lot of is dogs who won't stand still long enough for you to thread the strap. So we have a couple different ways that we get the strap on to the dog for their muzzle. And so the first thing we're going to do is what I call the lure through. So I have my muzzle strap as loose as it can go, and I'm going to start with the treats in my hand and feed through the muzzle. I'm not doing anything other than letting the dog get some treats through, and then I'm going to let the treats do the work. Notice that my left hand that's holding the muzzle is not moving at all. It's all the cookies. And so we need to be sure, though, that the dog has room in which to do this. So I'm going to change the positions here. I'm right-handed, so I'm completely shift around, but I want you guys to be able to see. So, there we go. So hand through, and the treats do the work, not the hand that's holding the muzzle strap. You gotta make it big enough for the dog to get through. Wait. And lure through that way, okay? And I don't care if she pulls out at that point and of the muzzle. Not a big deal. Go, Blue. Wait. Good. So that's one way to get the strap on of the muzzle. The other way is to take the strap and you put it up on the nose band of the muzzle. Can you tell Lindy likes to train? She's a little bit of a training machine. So we're gonna do this way. And so strap is up on the nose band. I'm gonna have treats in my hand. Yes, my dog is this crazy just for kibble. And we are going, and then once she is in the muzzle, wait, I will then work on putting the strap over her head. Now, if she were to back out of that situation before I got the strap over her ears, I would not continue with that movement. Sit, wait. But she's not bothered by it. I'm making sure to feed the treats and then sliding it off before the treats are done. I want the dog to learn that I take the muzzle off instead of them pulling their head out of the muzzle. I actually saw a dog that they really thought that's what was being rewarded, was pulling their head out of the muzzle. So once again, just slide over and then zoop, off it goes. Excellent. The Blue. Good. She just knocked over her treat jar and startled herself. So those are two of my favorite ways to get the muzzle straps on. Instead of having the dog hold still and try to thread the muzzle, which takes a lot longer to train. These methods are for dogs that are comfortable with things happening around their heads. What I have learned is you have to be careful with dogs with uppy ears, pointy ears. Definitely with some of these methods to make sure that they are comfortable with that and make sure they're comfortable, I call it retracto ear mode. Good, nice job. Free. So the other thing I like to teach my dogs when I'm muzzle training is to eat off the ground. So I'm actually going to tighten this strap up a little bit. I don't remember if Lindy has been taught to eat off the ground or not. So I'm going to lure through again, and then I'm going to hold it out. She's going to figure out how to put it on. And then, here. Oops, slippery hand. All right, so there's a little paw there at the muzzle because I was not ready. That's okay, she was easily distracted by treats coming. So I'm going to start holding treats on the ground and work on having her figure out how to get them off my hand and into the muzzle. She is very food motivated, so she's going to stay with me longer than some dogs might. She's also trying to use the wrong hole. I think it's always best to use that bottom hole. This muzzle's a little, it's not super fitted to her. Like I said, Baskervilles are not perfect, but it works for training ideas. And so I've just got my hand flat on the ground right now because she's having a little trouble with this. And helping her realize that she can eat off the ground. Now we're going to play a little, depending, I always joke, this depends on what part of the country you're from. If you're from the north, now we're going to start to play hockey. And we're going to work on her muzzle is the goal, and my hands are the hockey sticks. Get it, get it, get it, get it. Doesn't help that these treats blend into the ground here. Ideally, I would use actually cheese balls for this game, or string cheese is another good thing to do because it doesn't roll around as much. All right, she's been in the muzzle a pretty long time, and I don't want her to get too frustrated, so I'm going to go ahead, like I said, take it off before she gets worried. Hop, there we go, nice job, excellent. So I'm going to give her a food toy to let her entertain herself, and I'm so I can answer some questions. It looks like there's a couple people there. So I find that the majority of problems come from getting the strap on and getting it tightened up, and then also building duration. So we have lots of games in which to build duration. Actually, that game I just did there with teaching her to eat off the ground is a great way. The lickable food source from the little baby bowl with the muzzle inside of it. It's hard to see on my, there you go, against my sweater. And so those are just some options. The biggest thing though is taking it at your dog's pace. Especially if your dog has had a negative muzzle experience, maybe they've been muzzled without any training at the veterinary setting or in a grooming setting, things like that. When we talk about muzzles at Synergy, we always want to make sure that the muzzle should not impact the dog's day-to-day living. So they should be able to eat, drink, play, interact, and go about their daily life with their muzzle on. And it should not impact their daily life, but you have to train it to get to that phase. So if you are stuck on muzzle training, we do have a Muzzle Magic class, a 4-week class that I am teaching starting next week on Thursday. It is an online class, so you don't need to live here in Portland, Oregon to attend it. More information is on our website at synergybehavior.com. And I have lots of different ways to deal with muzzle training. This is just a little tip of the iceberg here today. We have trained dogs who, at the sight of the muzzle, have become aggressive, all the way to dogs who are complete novices with muzzles. There's lots that we can do, even if your dog has had that negative muzzle experience. Are you guys enjoying my dog playing with her food toy back there? Like I said, she likes her food a lot. She's like, ooh, muzzle with peanut and almond butter again. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in here and I will gladly answer them. And if you have some problems with your muzzle training, please feel free to join us in our Muzzle Magic class. It is designed for dogs who have either not been muzzle trained at all or dogs who are a little stuck and getting a refresh in their muzzle training. So thanks so much. Hope you enjoyed. And if you have any questions, let us know. Once again, I'm Sarah McLeodry from Synergy Behavior Solutions. Bye.